So welcome to my YouTube channel. That's what we call Do It Good Life. Today I'm going to be talking about how you can grow great blueberries. In fact, how you can grow fantastic blueberries. A few years ago I decided that I'd really love to grow blueberries, but I knew nothing about them, but I knew they were quite fussy with the kind of soil that they liked, so I thought I'd better do a little bit of research first. Now my blueberries are here in a raised bed. I cover them with a net to stop the birds from attacking them. So if I just gently take this off, you have to excuse us, we appear to have a lot of flying ants that are swarming at the moment because it's exactly the right time of day for them to do that. But I've been assured by my cameraman that they're not going to cause us any harm. They especially won't cause you any harm if you're on the other side. So if you see a few flying ants flying around, don't worry about it, it's all good. So these are my blueberry plants here. As you can see, I've got lots of lovely ripe blueberries that I'm going to be picking today. So I've got a lovely amount there. I've got about 4 or 5 plants in here, I think, and they're a mixture of varieties. Now the important thing to remember with blueberries is they do like acidic soil. So my soil on my allotment is far from acidic. It's very alkaline, it's very clayey. So I decided to put mine into a raised bed, but I had to put special compost in it to make sure that my blueberries flourished. Now, if you're going to plant them in the ground, you need to know your soil. So if you don't know what kind of soil you've got, you can get a simple soil tester, which will tell you what kind of soil you've got. I didn't even need to do a soil test to know mine wasn't okay. So I put mine in raised beds because I knew it was already clayey. But you can easily get a soil tester off Amazon. I will put a link up on the screen and one in the description if you want to get one of those. But myself, I've got mine in a raised bed. You could easily do them in pots. Now, because obviously I've got several, I've got a very large raised bed. If you were going to do them singularly, you'd need a tub about 30 centimetres or 40 to 50, all depending how big your blueberries were. But as you can see, my raised bed here is really quite large. Now, the first thing I did was I just put some logs in it to bulk it out a little bit. But there are some other things you can put in there. Now the really important thing is you put the right compost in. So one of the things that I did buy was I bought some Ericaceous Compost, because that's the right kind of soil that these plants really love. So you can easily get that again online, so I'll put a link up on the screen and one in the description if you want to get some of that compost. You can also feed them as well, and again you need to feed them with something that is for ericaceous plants like blueberries, and mulching as well. So the other thing you can do is when you are mixing up your beds, it costs a lot of money just to buy the compost, so you can mix it up with kind of like bark chips, pine needles, and the other thing I also do is I do mulch, and as you can see I've got bark on there. You know, it's a really good way, because after I built the bed I found that it sunk down quite a bit, and I just put bark on mine. Again, it really likes it. So you do have to be careful what kind of compost you get. And one thing I will say as well, although they do self-pollinate, they also pollinate much better if you've got different types of blueberries. Now I've got, all my blueberries are all different types, so while I could just have one and it would still produce fruit, it does produce fruit much better if it's got different types of varieties with it. And as you can see, I've picked quite a few off here already, and I've still got lots and lots left. Now when you've got your plants, you literally just plant them at the level they come in the pot, so you don't sink them down, you don't rise them up, you plant them exactly at the level that you get them. And other things to bear in mind, while you will obviously want to feed them, and obviously there's some feeds out there especially for your blueberries, be careful not to overfeed, because if you overfeed that could be detrimental too, especially if you've got them in the ground. Now what I would recommend is getting one of, if you're a little bit worried about your soil, is to get one of those soil testers. I must admit mine are in a raised bed and I know what I've put in this, and if I'm honest, because I've not had them that long, I've not fed mine yet. But if they're in the ground, you might need to you know, add some beneficial fertilizers to it to make sure they do what you want them to do. But like I say, be careful not to over fertilize. Now the ideal time to plant blueberries is in the autumn and the spring, but obviously be careful that the ground isn't frozen. I mean, it's obvious, but you know, that it wouldn't help them, and some of them aren't frost tolerant, so do check the varieties when you get them. So if they're not frost tolerant, you've got to be able to have them in a pot and then bring them in, or make sure you cover them with fleece. Now mine are all quite frost tolerant, so mine are all absolutely fine. I'll be honest with you, I don't know what varieties. I literally bought all different ones, so I've got a real mixture here, but you can even get pink ones, not just blueberries, so you can get pink berries. Which I've not got, I've only got the blueberry type. But that's something that you do need to bear in mind when you plant them. That being said, do you know what, if you see a reduced one, you can plant them at any time of the year, but just be a bit mindful. If it's particularly hot and very, very dry, just make sure you keep them well watered. But the perfect time is the autumn and the spring. And pruning. So with pruning, you, like with a lot of plants, you remove the anything that's dead and anything that's damaged. So you just, and anything that's like old looking wood. So I haven't pruned mine yet because mine are still quite new. They're only a couple of years old and they weren't big enough to really cut anything off, and there wasn't anything damaged. But if I found anything damaged on here, or anything that looked dead, I would take that out, or very, very old looking wood, I would take that out as well. But because they're only a couple of years old, I haven't got that far yet. Now I do hope you've enjoyed watching my YouTube channel. If you feel you've got value out of this channel, you can do something called Buy Me a Coffee. We'll put a link up on the screen and also one in the description. And if you'd like to watch more videos, we will pop another video on the screen so you can check out more what I'm doing on my plot.